And we're going to talk about how to get people unstuck without being pushy. And this podcast was inspired by Christine, one of our Emerge Rockstar students. I hope you're listening out there. Christine asked, how do you get into a routine and when you feel stuck, and how do you reinvigorate builders? And this has come up in coaching calls with leaders that I've worked with as well. And so many times you'll hear you don't motivate people, and motivation and drive has to come from within. There's some truth to that. But as a coach, one of my greatest strengths is really helping people to move to action. And in this podcast, I'm going to give you a few quick tips on how to do that. And also how to do that while cultivating a healthy and fun environment. So stay with me because I'm going to go through 4 tips on this. And tip 4 is the best one. It's the most fun. So let's dive right in. And I want to just start talking a little bit about the first tip when it comes to reinvigorating, and that's reinvigorating any type of motivation. Because motivation, we have motivation in our business, we have motivation to eat well, we have motivation, motivation to go to the gym. I know I work with that one a lot. So when we think of reinvigorating any type of motivation is to really understand the spark or understand what created that spark in order to fan the fire. So leadership and sales have a lot in common. When you're selling something, you have to find the need to sell that. And the spark is really uncovering the need for the product. For someone to be inspired towards action in sales is very similar to actually uncover the spark to actually sell something. So right there, if you're trying to drive someone where they don't want to go, it won't work. So what we need to do is uncover that spark. And they need to understand, to uncover a spark is to understand the why. And many times people won't identify what their own spark is. So you can help create sparks with good questions. Like in conversation, hey, what's important to you about bringing this into people's lives? You could do this. What did you want to do for your family again? Sometimes it's a drive to help their family. So if I'm a salesperson, I need to understand my why in order to be moved to action. And so a really simple question to ask somebody what their spark is to literally ask them, what sparked you? What sparked your drive to do X, Y, Z? And especially if somebody had decided to do it and fell off and starts kind of falling off the wagon of motivation, because we all go in these cycles, right? All salespeople do, all people do in general, right? So bringing back that spark and then fan that fire. And so the second tip is, in order to fan the fire, do things together. So things are more fun in groups, or at least with a buddy. So entrepreneurship can be lonely. Studies have shown that people can be moved into more powerful action when they're in groups. Sometimes that can be a bad thing because, group thing. But in this case, we're using our powers for good. So a formal coaching relationship works really well. I've experienced that as both being coached and coaching others. And basically, just in general, this tip, it's setting goals is more real if you share them with somebody else and you have some accountability towards them. So then the third step is to set up milestones. So whenever we're working with actual motivation, we need to have some milestones, because you can't just push and never get anywhere. You have to have some key metrics that help drive that. And this goes back to goal setting. So there needs to be specific goals around what you're trying to accomplish in order for you to stay motivated. Rank goals might be a little hard for someone to fathom. Sometimes those they start becoming just more of like this dream and not real anything that can move towards action. Activity goals are controllable. Edwin Locke is a big name in the research of goal setting. And in one of his studies, I have a clip that I took that was one of his studies, and So what it says is basically goal setting is most likely to improve task performance when the goals are really specific and there's sufficient ability, like, so they need to have the skills and, in order to do XYZ activity, but also if feedback is provided and if feedback is provided in relationship to the goal or somebody is leading them in a supportive manner. Also, goals are much more efficient if they're accepted by the individual. So right there, interpretation, it's really important to be a supportive leader and gain agreement from the team member that is working towards a goal. So the goals need to be set collaboratively. Medellin Green found that goal setting positively impacts behavior and engagement, and it also impacts optimism, and optimism positively impacts performance. So it's like this circle, right? So when we have motivation, like we have a spark, then we need to set the goal, then we work the cycle of meeting the goals, having fun, and continuing to build that momentum, which then in turn will help the motivation, which in turn helps that fire keep going. So that's how we get the spark to really grow into a fire, if you will. So the fourth tip is make it a game. So I'm just going to share a story with you all. When I went into my first week as a sales manager, I was assigned to a very low motivated team. Talk about needing to re-engage people. All the team was in this place of no success and spinning their wheels. And the first thing I asked them was, do you all like games? And they said yes. I asked them if they would help me make a game that we could all play as a team, and then they would win a free lunch on me. Now, you don't have to do a free lunch. Sometimes you can just look at your budget, and sometimes little incentives are really fun. Sometimes it's just bragging rights. The moral of this whole thing is that most people like games. They're fun, and if you're competing against yourself, and that creates a healthy environment, and if it's for the right reasons, games are a great way to engage the team. And so think about this. What are the rules and how do we win? So we just stated that rank goals are too far away. And so just a little disclaimer here. If you're a leader and you tell everyone, hey, we're going to go have a game, we're going to go play a game and see who can get the most enrollments, that actually might land a little flat for some people and demotivate them. So besides that, think about enrollments. No one needs a game to be motivated to enroll somebody. Enrolling people is already really fun. So the game needs to be based on the activities that aren't already fun. And that is getting to the enrollment part, getting to the people to talk to. And that was one of the things that we really focused on with the team that I was working with, is that we're not so much focused on how many calls they're making. We're actually focused on how many people they're talking to. So if you lay out the game rules and how to win it, it could look like something along the lines of helping people kind of dissect the activities that they need to do. So if everyone's end goal is they want to enroll 4 people in the month, and remember, think realistically, if that's a far cry for people, you can have them do like a low, medium, high goal or something like that. But I'm just going to engage this game layout for somebody that, for example, the closing rates of most of our students is about 75%. So if we just backwards math the game, we need to have appointments with 6 people. We need to invite about 8, and it all begins with outreach. So you can start the game there. So the first week is everyone that wants to win this game could do a calling and texting, Facebook messaging, with 20 people to engage in class. And like I mentioned, you actually need to connect with 15 people, or that's the goal, is to connect with 15 people on the phone. So if you get no response from 10, then you need to keep outreaching until you engage with 15. And then you ask, are those rules fair? Does that sound fun? Everyone's like, yes. And of course they'll say yes, because it is actually a win-win-win. Customer wins, your team member wins because it's fun, and you win as a leader because you've helped guide them in a way that's fun and a way that they can reach their goal and something that they've agreed to do. And so again, you can get creative with it. You can have fun prizes. I promised a team member, like I said, before lunch, and another time it was, I would just get up and sing I'm a little teapot. And so everybody just thought that was really fun to, get their leader to do something silly. So the odds are in everyone's favor for winning, because it's totally something that people can control. And, the most important thing is that your customers are being served, and potential customers are being served and outreach to. So I hope that you found these fun tips helpful to inspire motivation for your team. And thanks so much for listening today. Leave a comment below or message me at aj@emergesalestraining.com if there's another specific topic that you want to talk about or hear about on these podcasts. Have a great one.